What up is Marcus Dynasty Dads? We have redraft and dynasty panic meters on 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, 11 of the top players that have actually been disappointments so far through 4 weeks already, a quarter of the season. Let's go right into it. Quarterback Joe Burrow. And we can lump it in that another panic meter is going to be Joe Mixon. And really that offense has been horrendous. Jamar Chase has been good the last 2 weeks. But Joe Burrow, 31st right now in fantasy points. It's shocking. I mean, even with if he was out there with one leg, I would have voted that, or I would have projected him to be better than this. And so my redraft meter is like an 8 out of 10. I think that maybe after the bye week in a couple of weeks here for Joe Burrow, that he ends up being a high-end quarterback 2, low quarterback 1. He's also lost Higgins short term. That's a big panic. And really that offense has been sputtering and looks ridiculously bad. And so that is a huge concern. Dynasty-wise, a 2 out of 10 for panic meter. So Dynasty, I am not worried about his long-term effect. He's going to have Jamar Chase probably forever. T. Higgins, he's probably not going to have forever. He's probably going to lose him very shortly here. But I still think that offense is going to run. They're going to replace Higgins with probably another capable wide receiver too. They're probably going to replace Joe Mixon, which we're going to talk about Dynasty panic meter here really, really shortly. And so Dynasty, don't panic with Joe Burrow. But in redraft, it is a panic for 2023. And this is what I thought was going to happen more of, not to this extent, more of previous to last year. I thought Joe Burrow was going to regress slightly. I thought that he had really high touchdown mark, and I thought that his limited mobility, he's still mobile, but he doesn't have the mobile yards like a Hurts or even like a Patrick Mahomes. I thought that he would be more of a low-end quarterback 1. He ended up having a great year last year, and now this year might be a little bit of a dip down. Plus, he has that hampered calf injury. Let's go with Joe Mixon. He is right now 19th at 10.5, which doesn't sound like horrible. He's a low-end RB2, and my redraft meter is a 3 out of 10. I think they're going to have to use him a ton through the offense still. He is the only guy that's going to be able to get a rushing touchdown. He's going to be a big ball time carrier, so volume. Think of the James Conner type of role. Like, you got him and James Conner that are going to be on maybe not great offensive teams for the short period of time, at least Cincinnati. I'm projecting them to kind of regress to the mean, but not going to be an amazing offense by any mean over the next few weeks or month. So 3 out of 10, but 9 out of 10 for Dynasty. Like, get off of this. Like, if Joe Mixon starts having a good week or two here, we saw this last year. Joe Mixon was relatively running back for 16 of 17 weeks. He had one amazing week, and that changed the whole perspective on Joe Mixon last year. Make sure that if you can get a great week, even a 20, 25-point week, that would be the time to start selling Joe Mixon here. Or if a team that finds themselves in an injury bug here, then Joe Mixon, just wait for that team to get an injury, and Joe Mixon is the perfect fill-in. It's a perfect contender. Like, I feel like he's a decent enough RB2, but you don't need him as a rebuild or anything like that. You sell. We're going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. And why the panic meter is he's 28th. He only averages 8 points per game. And so my redraft meter is a 5 out of 10. So my redraft meter, he's not going to have the high upside with David Montgomery there that we thought he was going to have. We thought he was going to have more touchdowns than Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was a high volumed into the reception backfield, but he was a very big touchdown guy as well. Alvin Kamara was. And right now you are seeing David Montgomery be the touchdown guy. And so dynasty-wise, I do have it at like a 2 out of 10, a 2.5 out of 10. And so when I said, Jahmyr Gibbs has a pretty easy path to being a top 5 dynasty running back, I see this issue, and it's David Montgomery. It's touchdowns. Will Jahmyr Gibbs get 8, 10, 12, 14 touchdowns? Can he get there? I think that those odds have definitely gone down quite a bit. And that's just because David Montgomery is, and I think Dan Campbell's going to keep it this way. I think David Montgomery has shown himself to be the 5 zone, to be the 10 zone type of running back that he likes to see, the powerful running back. And Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the back out of the backfield that's going to be utilized in receptions. I mean, look at David Montgomery. Just came back from injury, over 30 attempts, all the touchdown carries. So this is a little bit of a panic meter for now, redraft-wise. So 5 out of 10 here. I mean, I've seen him benched even in certain leagues too because honestly, he's just not performing, and a lot of that is touchdowns. I mean, if you have 0 touchdowns, you just don't have that upside as even a Joe Mixon. And that just kind of sucks because Jahmyr Gibbs is so talented. But David Montgomery there for touchdowns. Miles Sanders, we're going to go through him here real quick. 8 out of 10 for redraft and dynasty. Signed that big contract, but what I see with Carolina, I was a big Miles Sanders proponent before the season started, is I thought volume and volume and volume on a bad team. Well, Carolina is even worse than I thought. Bryce Young is worse than we thought. And Miles Sanders, 8.9 points. Chuba Hubbard has been in the game a lot more than we want. He just doesn't seem to be getting... He just doesn't look good. I was watching the Vikings game, and he just didn't look good. And that's all I can say here. Against the Minnesota team, and you can't even get 5 points. Like, come on now, Miles Sanders. Like, you got to do better than that. And so, Miles Sanders is a panic here of 8 out of 10. Like, I am trying to move on from him. I don't think that you can. You're kind of stuck with him. Dynasty-wise, kind of same thing. I think he's going to be on a bad team. Him and Najee have a very similar, like, talented. I think that you look at a top 2 round draft class for Miles Sanders, or top 2 round in the NFL draft, got money. Just there is a big concern that Miles Sanders is going to be stuck at 24th to 30th, like a high-end running back 3 on a bad team. And you might see players like Jahmyr Gibbs, who right now is slightly underperforming to Miles Sanders. You might see Jahmyr Gibbs score more points on the season. Miles Sanders, you're just hoping for touchdowns, but on a bad team, that's really hard to do. And so we're going to go through some wide receivers here. Calvin Ridley, 34th. With 10.2 points, just is not getting the targets. Doesn't make much sense to me, honestly. If I believe anything, I believe in Trevor Lawrence. I believe in that offense, and I believe in Doug Peterson. I think that offense is going to target Calvin Ridley. We know he's hyper-talented. We saw that in week 1. So 3 out of 10 for redraft, and Dynasty 4 out of 10. I mean, he's getting a little bit older. If I can try to flip him for a younger wide receiver, it might be worth an opportunity if the opportunity arises, but if not, it doesn't. So we're going to go with Jerry Jeudy, Drake London. We're going to match them together because they're kind of frustrating to me together. 69th for Jeudy, 51st for London, but really 7.1 to 7.5. These are going to be 8 out of 10s for redraft, 8 out of 10s for dynasty. Drake London and Jerry Jeudy are 2 wide receivers that I thought were going to take a good step forward, and Jerry Jeudy has not, and I don't know why. They're for different reasons. One, Jerry Jeudy is the best wide receiver on Denver Broncos by far, and I am not a Courtland Sutton fan. I have seen Courtland Sutton play. Jerry Jeudy is a better wide receiver. Here's the issue. Russell Wilson can't get him the ball, and Sean Payton can't design offense for him, and Jerry Jeudy has been hurt when he starts getting hot. The other issue for Drake London, and this is why that I have panic meter on him. The offense goes through Bijan Robinson. Desmond Ridder is a bad quarterback, and their offense is going to be poor. So it's going to be Bijan. It's going to be the Bijan show, and you're going to have Drake London have these games where you're going to have 3 for 35, and sometimes he's going to score, and sometimes he's not. It's just frustrating. They need a quarterback next year. Please, Atlanta, get somebody. Heck, take my Kirk Cousins. I mean, I just because I want to see that offense roll. And we're going to get to Kyle Pitts here. He is a 10 out of 10 in redraft, panic meter. A 9.9 in dynasty. Just because there's a 0.1% of me that I think is delusional. 4.3 points, 28th. I don't understand. If Atlanta, if you want to use Jonnu Smith, Atlanta, go trade Kyle Pitts. Go trade him to somebody that cares and somebody that wants him. I guarantee you a contender right now, if you have a contender that's 3-1, even a 2-2 team, I bet that if they have a high-powered enough offense that they would take Kyle Pitts for a late first. Offer him a second. Give him a different tight end. Have a TJ Hawkinson-like trade. Give Kyle Pitts a chance. And that is all I ask for. It is so frustrating. I don't know what to do. I've seen Dalton Kincaid and Sam Laporta now rise over Kyle Pitts, who is easily the number 1 tight end dynasty. I just don't get it. It's sad. 9 out of 9, or 10 out of 10 for redraft meter and 9.9 for dynasty. And honestly, the only person that is more panicking right now is Dallas Goedert. He's 31st. He's less, 3.8 points per game. And this is a 10 out of 10 for both dynasty and redraft because you clearly see A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are the top 2 weapons in that offense. DeAndre Swift is in that offense. He is also a priority. Then it's Kenneth Gainwell, and you can say Jalen Hurts is probably in that priority range too when they do the tush push. Got to do the tush push. Dallas Goedert is just a guy that is there to block and there to just, I guess, be there. I just don't get it. 10 out of 10 for both of them. And then the only other one that I want to talk about, 10 out of 10 for panic meter, is George Kittle. George Kittle, for dynasty-wise, this is a big, huge. I mean, he had a touchdown, or else he's down with them. 5.5. He's 13th, which he can't believe that 13th is literally 5.5 points. It's just sad. He's a 7 out of 10 in redraft because I think he'll outperform both Goddard and Pitts. Also, Debo has been banged up. Christian McCaffrey's not going to score 50 touchdowns. I don't think he's going to score 50 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey's just been on fire. So I think Kittle is still the best of these three. But again, there is definitely some worry here. And then Justin Fields, I'm going to give you a little bonus here. He's 13th, 19.1. Well, why he's a panic? Even though he did great against Denver, we saw clearly the reason why. I think that Justin Fields, who I have been a proponent of, I think Chicago is just using him poorly. He doesn't run, which is his best weapon, especially for fantasy football. And his passing, he fumbles and throws interceptions against a horrible Denver team, and they blew an incredible lead. 6 out of 10 for redraft because I still think he's going to be, you're probably going to have him be 13th. You're going to have some more bad weeks that you're going to be like, bleh, he got 12 points, 10 points. And then you're going to have other weeks where he's going to score 30 points, and you're going to be like, well, what the heck? Where'd this come from? And it's going to be against teams that are probably poor in defense. Probably my Minnesota Vikings twice. They play Minnesota twice. That's probably going to be some big points there. And in Dynasty, it's a 9 out of 10. My only hope for him is he goes somewhere else and they treat him well. Have him go to Atlanta and see if Atlanta can do anything. Probably not. He's better than Desmond Ridder, though. Have him go to Tennessee. Have Chicago trade him away. Trade Fields away for a second. Tank away. Take your first couple picks. You have the top two. Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then now you have an extra second. You can go start building your defense. Boom. You have yourself. And then go get rid of your coaches because you need somebody that can actually develop a quarterback and some weapons around him. All right. This is Marcus Dynasty with that. I hope you enjoyed my rant. Peace out. Take care. We'll see you again tomorrow.